My garden's looking pretty good this summer, but I want to let you into a little secret that hardly anyone knows. There's a way to boost plant growth that costs almost nothing and that gives better results than any commercial plant food. Would you believe it? It uses fish scraps and can literally supercharge your plants. Let me show you how it's done. Our plant boosting recipe begins with fish, and this is a byproduct that would otherwise be thrown away. You could use any fish for this, sea fish, lake fish, river fish, just as long as it's fish. You might have access to lots of fish. You might be mad on fishing or live next to a fishmonger or something. Great, in which case you can use the whole fish for the fullest effect. However, fish usually isn't that plentiful and it's quite expensive. So if you can get discards like this, then this is a much more effective way to do it and there's no waste involved. What we're going to end up with is a fertilizer that's really fast acting and that feeds the soil life too, making plants stronger and better supported. It's really fab stuff. What I've got here is roughly 8 pounds or 4 kilos of fish. It's the heads, guts and skin and so on left after filleting your fish. Now, if you don't make enough scraps, then do make friends with a local fishmonger and they may even give them to you for free. But top tip, go and collect your scraps in a lidded container. You don't want this stuff in a plastic bag and then having it leaching out onto your clothes or car seat or something. No, thank you. So what I'm going to start by doing is chopping up these larger pieces into slightly smaller bits. Now this isn't essential, but just like anything, if things are broken down into smaller pieces, they're going to ferment a lot quicker. And that's what we're going to be doing today to make our fertilizer, fermenting this fish. If you have a powerful blender or a mincer, that should make a much easier job of it than going at it with a knife. So commercial fish fertilizers are often sold as fish emulsions, and they too use fish waste like this or fish meal. But unlike what we're going to do today, they raise the temperature right up to something in the region of 175 Fahrenheit or 80 Celsius to really drive out the oils and kill off all the bacteria. That gives an okay fertilizer, but we can do better for that and we can do it for pennies. Our fish fertilizer will have many more beneficial microbes in it because it's not been boiled too high. It'll be a living fertilizer, so that'll be really good for the soil life. And our fish emulsion, or rather a hydrolysate, because we're not lifting it up in heat, we're just fermenting it in water, will have a much broader range of nutrients too. Right then, let's slop this out into a 5-gallon bucket here, and it comes with a lid, which is kind of essential to keep the fishy pong to a minimum. To give us our final fish fertilizer or hydrolysate, we'll need to ferment the fish, as I said, and to help with that, I'm adding a cupful of unsulfured molasses to help feed all those lovely little tiny microbes. This will also add valuable micronutrients. Delicious. If you haven't got any molasses, then you could try adding soft brown sugar or raw cane sugar, both of which should add fuel to that microbial fire. And now to add 3 parts of rainwater to roughly 1 part of fish. And then let's give it all a good stir. This is beginning to look very appetizing. Now I could just leave this as it is, but I'm going to add 2 optional extras, and they might surprise you, especially the first one, which is some sauerkraut. Now, just like sauerkraut and indeed kimchi, this fishy ferment uses lactic acid bacteria to produce a lactoferment. So by adding just a little bit of kimchi or sauerkraut right now, we're going to kickstart this off so it's fermenting and getting going right from the first minute. And the second extra is sawdust. Now this is sawdust from completely plain and untreated wood. That's really important. Sawdust is a brown, and just like in composting, it will help to balance out nitrogen-rich greens, which in this case is our fish. So I'm going to add a few handfuls of this stuff in there to do just that. And this will also help to knock back the smell a little bit. If you think it smells a bit fishy now, well, just wait till it gets fermenting. So in goes a few handfuls of that, and this will also help to create little sort of air pockets as well to keep this all a bit more open and healthy. Right, I think that about does it, so I'm going to give it all another good stir. Lovely stuff. Now that's our fish fertilizer all set up, ready to go. The last job, of course, is to put on a lid. Now this will help to keep the smell down a bit. We don't want to upset the neighbours, and it will also keep some of the flies away because they really love this stuff. What we don't want is flies getting in here and laying their eggs and turning this all a bit putrid. Now all of this might sound a bit disgusting and could put you off, and I really don't mean it to sound that way. It does smell a bit, but with the lid on it's fine, and this is going to be really fantastic stuff. I'm now going to leave this outside for anywhere up to about a month. Now fermentation is fastest at a warm room temperature, which means summer is the ideal time to make this. There's going to be a lot of really good stuff going on in here, and we're going to get ourselves some truly precious gardener's gold. Here's one batch I've already had going on now for about 10 days, and you can see that it's bulging because it's producing air inside. So one thing with a lid like this is we have to burp it every now and then. Just let the air out like that and clip it back down again. A more hands-off alternative to burping the lid every couple of days is to put on a bit of gauze or netting like this and then secure it in place with some string or a elastic band like this, just to kind of create a good kind of seal there. Make sure there's no gaps so that the flies can't get in. That'll keep the flies off, but there's more smell coming through, however, so do put this somewhere well out of the way of both you and your neighbours. So let's go back to this batch here that I started 10 days ago and see how it's getting on. Now, after about a week, it really is the smelliest stage, so the lid will certainly help to repress that smell, but maybe don't just put your face in it. But I'm kind of curious. Let's have a little, oh gosh, it really does reek. But while the lid's off, I'm going to give it a good stir just to get more air in there. Well, it's been 4 weeks since we started our fishy ferment, and this is now all broken down into a fairly smooth and consistent liquid. There aren't great big bits of fish anymore, just kind of like bits of sawdust. It means it's ready to go. I've been giving it a good stir and it's now ready to use. Let's strain this stuff off into a bucket here. Now this will have lots of lovely bacteria in it, the stuff that's left behind, so I can use this to prime my next batch of fish fertilizer. No sauerkraut needed. Now this is pretty pokey stuff. It's got an NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium ratio of 4:1:1, which means this stuff has got 4% nitrogen and 1% of phosphorus and potassium. It's also got good levels of sulfur, as well as magnesium, calcium, and a whole suite of other nutrients. I'm going to use this fish fertilizer to give my crops a nice general boost, but before I do that, I need to dilute it. Now I need 2 tablespoons per gallon of water. This can here holds 2 gallons, so in go 4 tablespoons. Oh, I think I've got the wrong end. That's a bit grim. Anyway, this really doesn't smell too bad now, but it has got a bit of a fishy pong, so I'm glad this isn't smellyvision. The flies, however, do seem to be finding it. Right, let's go and water. I can now use this to water my plants as usual, watering about once a week during the peak of the growing season, or maybe once every 2 weeks right at the start. Now try not to wet any parts that are edible. You don't want to sort of be eating a sort of fishy brew. Try and aim it onto the soil around the roots if you can. As I think I said earlier in the video, this stuff will not only give plants a kind of almost instant boost, it will feed the microbial life in the soil itself, which will in turn make the plants just generally stronger and better able to cope with kind of stressors like disease. It's really great stuff. It's also really good use as a foliar feed. Now just use the same sort of strength as before and then pop it in a spray bottle and spray all parts of the plant, underside and oversides of the leaves. Now these are my leeks and they're nice and young. It's great for young plants. It's great for cabbage family plants because of that sulfur it contains, and sulfur is what develops that lovely flavour in cabbage family crops. If you're spraying it on things like cabbages, then make sure that you leave at least 2 to 3 weeks before you harvest it. But of course you can easily wash it off, it's no problem. Just be aware that some fish, predatory fish, will accumulate more mercury in their bodies, which is why pregnant women, for example, are advised to limit their consumption of fish. Now this can get into the fish fertilizer, of course, and some plants are equally just as good at accumulating metals like mercury. So just avoid using this spray against so-called super accumulators like lettuce and amaranth, but generally it's very safe to use. Right then, I'm going to get this little lot bottled up and then keep it in a cool, dark place to store. Now it's fairly stable, but I'm still going to aim to use it up within about 2 months. More than enough time to start off the next batch or batches. And if you'd like more ideas for making your own natural liquid fertilizers, perhaps slightly less stinky ones, from common weeds like nettles, I will link to our video on that right at the end of the video and in the description below. Don't forget there's still time to try out the Garden Planner for free by taking advantage of our 7-day trial. Just head on over here to get started and start exploring its many powerful features, including crop rotation, companion planting suggestions, and more. Keep on growing, and I will catch you next time.